Well, for more on that attack in Istanbul, Christian Luprecht joins me now from Munich. He's a professor of political science at the Royal Military College of Canada. Thank you very much for your time this evening. So here we are again then. Once again, civilians have been targeted in a suicide attack in Turkey. Who do you think could be behind today's attack?
Well, I think certainly what we see is that this is a strategic terrorist attack. It's not somebody who got up in the morning and decided that they're going to do some harm, given that it was directed at the sort of economic capital of the country, and given the location of the detonation, shopping street. I mean, if we think back to Osama bin Laden, he had always said that the way to bring the Western economy to its knees is for people to stop shopping. And so I would hypothesize that given the nature of this attack, that this would probably more likely be Islamist extremists, but that is purely conjecture. It does suggest we clearly have a straightforward case of terrorism and effort to use ideologically motivated violent extremism to change government policy and to change government posture.
Do you think that's in any way likely? If one of the objectives of terrorism is to create fear amongst the population, is that what is happening in Turkey right now? Do you think the government will respond by changing its strategy at all?
Well, certainly. So there's two dimensions. One is how quickly Turkey has been able to react, local authorities, how quickly they've been able to reopen the street. And that's, of course, what you want to do. You want to show that you're resilient against these types of attacks, that you're not going to change the way you do things, that you want to get things back to normal as quickly as you possibly can, precisely so as not to instill fear, because terrorism ultimately feeds on the psychology of fear. And Turkey is a very strong state and, of course, a longtime NATO ally. And so strong states will not let themselves be extorted by politically motivated violent extremism, because that then makes them vulnerable to more violence and to more terrorist attacks if they would change their policies or politics as a result of these types of attacks. So certainly what it does do is it hardens the government's resolve with regards to its current policies. And so if terrorists are hoping to change the government's trajectory, these type of violent attacks make it even more difficult. Even if the government wanted to change trajectories, now it can't, because that would be seen as giving in to the demand of violent extremism.
Turkey faces a number of disparate threats right now, from the PKK, from DAESH, of course, from the spillover of the Syrian war with the YPG in Syria as well. Is there one single strategy that the government can implement here, or does it need different strategies for different threats, do you think?
Well, inherently, this is a nuanced issue that Turkey has challenges internally with regards to power sharing with its large Kurdish minority, and some grievances, and a very small fraction of people who decide to resort to violence to make those grievances known. And there's the external challenge. And I think in the immediate, Turkey is likely focused on trying to stabilize the external challenge with regards to its coalition to try to contain ISIS and hopefully, ideally, end up defeating ISIS, or at least containing it to the point where it doesn't pose a threat. But ultimately, certainly the internal struggles that Turkey faces will not be resolved through violence by either side. Only a political process and power sharing can resolve these, and it appears that a power sharing agreement may be some way off. And so as a result, whether it's internally or externally driven, Turkey will likely face this type of violent extremism for some time to come.
Okay, Christian Luprecht, thank you very much for your insight this evening.